Mr. Newby here, and today we're going to talk about wood joints. Wood joints are the way you join two pieces of wood together. Okay, we've got two pieces of wood here, we want to join them together. So, how do you do that? That makes it strong, because we don't want our projects to fall apart. We don't want them to be weak, we want them to be strong. So wood joints were designed to give you that strength, depending on what you're doing. And some were even designed for looks. It enhances the look of a project. So, I'm going to go over 12 wood joints with you that we use commonly in the shop here at Monache. So if you're here for 4 years, you'll probably see them being used, if not use them yourself within that time. So I'm going to do the first 6 in this video, and then I'll follow up with the second video with the following 6 wood joints. So the first wood joint we're going to talk about is called a butt joint. Okay, a butt joint is taking two pieces of wood, butting them together. That's all there is to it. It is the most common wood joint because you don't need anything special. Two pieces of wood, you butt them together. Okay, then you can put nails or screws in them to make it hold it together. The problem with that is there's no support under it, so it can break, can bend the nails. Okay, so it is the most common, but it is also the weakest wood joint. Okay, so the first wood joint is the butt joint. Just taking two pieces together, butt them up. That's a butt joint. Very common, but also very weak. Okay. The second wood joint we're going to talk about is a rabbet joint. Okay. A rabbet joint looks like this. It's a notch on the end of a board. Okay. And that notch is there to receive a second piece. So you put it in like that. Okay. And when you do that, it strengthens a corner. Okay. This is called a rabbet. Okay. And it can be found on the end of a board. Remember when we went and talked about parts of a board, this is the end. Or it can be found on the edge of a board. Okay, so it doesn't matter. End or edge, that is both rabbet joints. So, the one on the end, stronger than a butt joint. Okay, it's used to strengthen a corner. Alright, kind of locks it in, gives it some strength. And then the one that we go on the edge, a lot of times we use that is if we're going to put a piece of 1/4 inch plywood like on the back of a project. And if you don't have that, you put it on like this, which is a butt joint, and you put it on like that and you staple it or nail it. And then when you're looking at the side of your project, you see that plywood edge. Doesn't look very good. But if we make a rabbet joint and we put it on there, and then we can secure it to the project, and then when you're looking at the side of it, you don't see it. It hides the back. So rabbet joint, used to strengthen a corner, used to hide the back of cabinets. Okay, two main uses we use a rabbet joint for. The third joint we're going to talk about is this one. This one has a notch going across the grain in the middle of the board, and this is called a dado joint. A dado joint is strong. It locks the board in. So if I take this board and I put it in here, force it in there, okay, it goes into that notch there and it makes a nice, strong wood joint, okay? And then if this is a shelf, remember our butt joint had no support. This has support under here, so it's not going to break. I also want you to notice how the wood joints fit together. Here's a good example. It's not going to fall apart because it's a snug joint, and that's what we look for when we're making wood joints. We want to make it snug, okay, where it comes apart, goes together, and are snug. So, dado joint. We know it's a dado because it goes across the grain. You can see the wood grains going up this way. Dado goes across. And what's it used for? Used for shelves, petitions, different things like that, depending on the project. But it locks it in, and it's a fairly strong joint. So that's the dado joint. Next joint we're going to talk about is the groove joint. See this? Looks like a dado, right? But it goes with the grain. You see how the groove goes with the grain. Okay? So a dado goes across the grain, groove goes with the grain. All right? So what do we use grooves for? Well, there's lots of uses, but the main two uses we use groove for is if we're building a project and we want to put a 1/4 inch bottom, like we're building a box, we will put that box bottom in that groove, and that's how the bottoms hold in. Or we're making a drawer for a cabinet. pull the drawer out, you have the bottom in there. We can also put a groove in the drawer sides to secure that bottom. Another thing when we're talking about the groove, I told you that it's for a box bottom. Here's a sample. It's a bottom in this box right here, okay? And it's all encased in a groove joint. So you can't see the joint, but it's in there. That's what holds it in. So this is a sample of a project that my freshman class makes. Okay, to go show you an example of what a groove is used for the bottom of a project. Now we'll move on to the fifth wood joint. The fifth wood joint is called a lap joint. And the lap joint is where you take two pieces of wood, they overlap each other. So this is flush, and it holds it together. A lap joint is nothing more than a wide, what would this be? Dado, and a rabbet. But this is not called a dado and rabbet joint, even though there is one that's called that. This is called a lap joint because they overlap each other, okay? And they are flush. So there's two things that I've had students use lap joints for over the years in my shop. And one is sometimes they want to make a wooden cross. So they extend this piece up here, make two of them that look like this, and put them together. And they can make a wooden cross, and it's strong, it'll hold together. Another thing that my students use lap joints for is sometimes we built hutches, wine cabinets, and we need the rack to hold the wine bottles. So you have that little grid of pieces going this way and coming back the other way like a lattice. And every time those pieces intersect, we use the lap joint to put those together. So lap joint. The sixth and last one on this video is this one. This is called a mortise and tenon joint. Mortise and tenon joint, that is a mortise. A mortise is a square or rectangular hole in a piece of wood that will receive this. This is a tenon. Tenon is made by just making rabbets all the way around. You leave that piece of wood there, and then the mortise and tenon fit together. This is a really strong wood joint, and it's found in furniture because furniture needs to hold up people sitting in chairs and getting up and tables and all that stuff. So a lot of mortise and tenon joinery is found in furniture, and it's one of the strongest wood joints. So another thing they'll do is they'll make the tenon longer, the hole a little deeper, and when they put this through, they'll drill a hole and put a peg through it so that it locks it in and it can't come apart. So mortise and tenon, strong, found in furniture. Okay, so that's the first 6 wood joints. I will be making another video here shortly with next 6 wood joints. So with that said, as usual, newbie out.